Jinwoo's little sister was left wide open. That's when it happened. A nasty-looking orc, big and ugly as hell, grabbed her by the head. Sneering, he muttered how he always knew it was her. Said he could smell her magic from a mile away. He was just about to finish her off when he froze. He could feel something bad, something coming. His hands started shaking so bad he couldn't even hold on to her anymore. He let her drop like dead weight. Her friend bolted over, helping her up. Panic all over her face. "You okay?" Meanwhile, the orc's gut twisted in terror. And then, boom. An explosion rocked the place. Dust everywhere, people coughing, chaos. And through the smoke, he stepped in. He knelt next to his sister, gently placing his hand on her head. His voice low, steady. "It's okay now, you're safe." Every orc in the room? They backed the hell up. Even their leader, Gruer of the Red Knives, tried to puff up and introduce himself. Didn't even get the words out. Jinwoo shot him a look, lifted a finger and said coldly, "Shut up. Wait your turn." Gruer shut right the hell up. Jinwoo hugged his sister close, whispering an apology for being late. Then he turned, asking the other students if they were okay. A few nodded. Sonia, standing nearby, tried to sound brave. I'm fine." But then she noticed it. The aura coming off Jinwoo. It wasn't just strong, it was terrifying. And when Jinwoo saw the red bruise on his sister's cheek, left by that orc's filthy hand, something snapped inside him. Igris. His voice was like ice. His Shadow Knight appeared instantly, bowing his head. "Protect my sister," Jinwoo ordered. "Get the kids out of here." More shadow soldiers materialized, picking up the injured students and carrying them toward the dragon waiting outside. Meanwhile, the orcs? Yeah, they tried to move. Tried to make a break for it. Bad idea. "You move," Jinwoo warned. "You die." One idiot orc charged anyway, swinging a club the size of a tree trunk. Jinwoo didn't even flinch. He caught the club with 2 fingers. Snap! The orc howled like a dying animal, and before you could blink, Jinwoo had slammed him into the ground, hard enough to crack the concrete. One stomp, finished. The other 2 orcs tried to bolt. Jinwoo just raised his hand. Ruler's authority. Both orcs shot up into the air like puppets on strings, and when he closed his fists, they turned into a bloody mess. Done. The rest of the orcs panicked, screaming, charging all at once. Didn't matter. Jinwoo moved through them like a force of nature, tearing through bodies with his bare damn hands. In seconds, the room was littered with corpses. Only one was left standing, Gruer, shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. Jinwoo walked up, grabbed the bastard by the head and smashed him against the wall. Then he noticed something even worse. The halls beyond the corridor, littered with students, injured, bleeding. He turned to another hall. Same thing. His eyes darkened. "Why are you killing people?" he demanded. Gruer whimpered, mumbling some half-crazed excuse about hearing voices telling him to kill. "What about me?" Jinwoo asked quietly. "You want to kill me too?" Gruer broke down, crying, begging for mercy. In that moment, Jinwoo realized, to them he wasn't even human. He was something worse. His chaos blade materialized in his hand. "No point in talking anymore," Jinwoo said coldly. "I'll spare you, but don't expect it to be painless." Meanwhile, over in the dungeon where the Night Guild was raiding, things weren't exactly peachy either. One healer tugged at a giant ant's leg, yelling, "Hey, you got any idea how much vampire soul crystals are worth? Don't just eat them." The ant didn't even care. Kept chomping on vampires like it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. Annoyed, the healer yanked again, but accidentally scraped her arm. Before she could even yelp properly, the ant turned around, extended a huge claw, and in 1 second flat, her wound healed. She blinked. Healing magic? The girl realized, dumbfounded. This shadow ant's healing skills are better than mine. And I'm supposed to be the healer. Just another day in Jinwoo's crazy world. Meanwhile, back in another part of the battlefield, it was the ants' turn to cause some serious mayhem. Beru, the general of the ants, led his squad like a damn army. They pushed deeper into the dungeon, marching down endless dark corridors. At the end of one of them, a massive door creaked open. And waiting behind it, the boss. And not just any boss, an archlich. The moment the hunters laid eyes on it, they froze. "Oh shit," somebody muttered. An archlich wasn't your average dungeon boss. It was one of the nastiest, most horrifying things you could pull from a gate. And no guild had ever taken one down clean before. This should have been a damn nightmare. But thanks to one overpowered ant general, disaster was about to get flipped on its head. The hunters weren't out of the woods yet, though. Behind them, the dead monsters that Beru's ants hadn't finished off. Yeah, like those guys were crawling back up. The undead army was rising. "Seal the doors, now!" the raid leader shouted, panic all over his face. "Sacred defense!" One of the mage girls activated her barrier skill, throwing up a shimmering shield just in time. But it wasn't gonna last forever. "We got 5 minutes, tops!" the healer girl cried. The leader's mind was racing. Without Hunter Sung Jinwoo here, we're screwed. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw movement. The Ant General TT was heading straight for the boss. The Archlich hissed, speaking in a gravelly voice that sent chills down everybody's spine. Why are the king's troops fighting against us? We were chosen. It didn't make any damn sense. The boss was actually confused, thought Beru was on his side. Beru didn't give a single damn about his confusion. The Ant General just jumped and punched the boss so hard, he sent the monster flying across the dungeon like a damn ragdoll. For somebody who's about to die, Beru growled. You sure do talk a lot. Savage. The moment the boss slammed into the wall, Beru was on him again, claws digging deep. In one smooth, brutal move, he ripped the Archlich's heart clean out of his chest. The light in the boss's eyes faded instantly, and like dominoes, every undead soldier in the dungeon collapsed. Their connection to the dark energy snapped like a broken string. The hunters just stood there, mouths hanging open. One hit, one kill. Whole damn army wiped. The raid leader finally broke the silence, shouting, I knew he was strong, but holy hell, I had no idea. Another hunter wandered over, shaking his head in disbelief. With soldiers like that, Sung Jinwoo could clear entire dungeons without lifting a damn finger. Thinking about it, they realized, yeah, Beru and the other shadows didn't even burn through Jinwoo's mana completely. He was barely trying, and he could still steamroll monsters like this. One of the hunters joked, nudging the raid leader. Maybe we should scrap our old plans and just beg to join the Ajin guild? The raid leader scowled. You kidding me? Merge our fine-ass Knights guild with some new outfit just like that? The guy shrugged. I mean, it's kinda tempting. But the leader shook his head, grumbling about how Sung Jinwoo didn't even need them anyway. Rules are rules, he thought. Even if Jinwoo could solo a dungeon with his eyes closed, technically a raid still needed a full team. Still, part of him knew, if they backed Jinwoo, offered him support instead of trying to recruit him, nobody would blame them. Hell, they might even come out looking like geniuses. Meanwhile, outside, a heavy rain hammered down. Parents were flooding the streets outside the school, frantic, desperate to see if their kids were alive. Some cried tears of joy, others wept over the stretchers being carried away. Inside a quiet car, Jinwoo sat with the president of the Hunters Association. The president turned to him. The 213 students who escaped at the beginning of the incident, they're all safe. Jinwoo gave a tight nod. 10 more were rescued afterward. The president continued. If we'd reacted faster, maybe we could have saved more. He handed his phone over, showing data charts. In the past 6 months, the number of new dungeons has been growing, exponentially. The graphs didn't lie. Dungeons weren't just popping up, they were exploding across the world. But that's not even the weirdest part, the president added. He scrolled down to another set of stats. More and more people are awakening powers, strong ones. Strong enough to hold off monsters. Jinwoo's eyes narrowed. It wasn't random. It felt like the world was getting ready for something. Jinwoo leaned back, thinking hard. He asked about other countries. Japan, America, China, France, England, Germany, even way out in Central Asia. The president nodded, serious. Same patterns everywhere, Sung Jinwoo. Something's coming, and it's coming fast. After the rain-soaked car ride, the president of the Hunters Association leaned over from the front seat, handing Jinwoo a thick folder. These, he said, are the countries that officially want to make contact with you. Some others, he chuckled dryly. They already tried unofficially. Jinwoo flipped through the pages, his face unreadable. The president sighed. Look, the association can't really stop them. We're just protecting your info the best we can. But the truth is, he paused, choosing his words carefully. If you decide to leave Korea now, it's going to be damn hard to adapt anywhere else. They'll eat you alive out there. The conversation ran long, way longer than either of them expected. By the time they finally pulled up to the hospital where Jinwoo's sister was recovering, the sky was starting to brighten just a little. As Jinwoo got out of the car, the president called after him, voice a little softer. We'll give you whatever you need to stay, Hunter Sung. Just think about it. South Korea's got 10 registered S-rank hunters, and we already lost 3. 2 of them, killed by monsters. We can't afford to lose you too. Then he dropped the big question. What is it you want, Sung Jinwoo? Jinwoo turned around, dead serious. I want permission, he said, to raid dungeons solo. The president blinked. You mean you want me to lift the minimum party rule? Jinwoo nodded. Normally hunters needed a team, safety in numbers and all that. Going alone was supposed to be suicide, but this wasn't some normal hunter. The president ran a hand down his face. That rule exists so idiots don't get themselves killed. Even the best can get ambushed in a raid. But looking into Jinwoo's eyes, he knew arguing was pointless. He sighed. You really are a one-man army, aren't you? The president smiled thinly. It's hard, but not impossible. I'll pull the strings. Meanwhile, across town, a young reporter clicked off her mic after a brutal day of coverage. One of the cameramen patted her on the back. Good job out there. She smiled, just as her phone buzzed. Her brother. "Hey," he said casually. "How about ditching Dad's dusty old guild office and joining a real one?" "Ours," she blinked. "Since when are you recruiting?" Her brother Jinho laughed. "Since we're missing one member to get officially registered." She raised an eyebrow. "And you're roping me into some half-baked guild with some shady stranger?" Jinho just grinned. "If you knew who this shady stranger was, you'd fall off your chair." "Who is it?" Cut to Jin-Woo, standing in the lobby with his arms crossed as Jinho awkwardly introduced his sister. Suin, a certified A-rank hunter. The second Suin peeled off her mask and realized who she was looking at, her jaw almost hit the floor. You're him! The hunter who wrecked Lee Min-sung's press conference and just disappeared. Jinwoo chuckled lowly, easing into the couch. Man, he thought, Ginho's D rank and his sister's an A rank? Must be in the bloodline. He remembered reading cases where siblings both awakened. Not common, but not unheard of either. As Suin babbled excitedly, Jinwoo stayed calm. I'm guessing Jinho filled you in? She nodded eagerly. Yeah, you need a fourth member to officially form a guild, right? I'm in. Honestly, it's better than being bossed around by my jerk of a brother in Eugene's guild. She then whipped out her phone. Mind if we take a quick pic for my socials? Jinwoo raised an eyebrow but shrugged. Knock yourself out. Meanwhile, back at the Hunters Association, not everyone was thrilled about Jinwoo's new guild. At a private meeting, an association officer ranted, "This is pure privilege. You're bending all the rules for him." He slammed his hand on the table. But the president stayed cool. "You're right," he said simply. "It is privilege." The officer sputtered in disbelief, but the president leaned in, voice low and serious. "Tell me, if monsters poured out of a gate tomorrow, would you rather send a squad of 20 hunters or one Sung Jinwoo?" Silence. The officer had no comeback, because deep down, everyone knew the answer. Meanwhile, across town, Cha Hai-in sat glaring at her phone. There it was, a social media post, fresh and smug, from some girl flaunting her first day with the Ajin Guild. Cha's hands shook with rage. Seriously? First day? Already flexing? The aura around her flared so hard that it damn near rattled the walls. The next morning, Jinwoo and Ginho stood outside a massive gate, staring up at it. It was huge, like stupid huge. Even Jinwoo had to admit, it made most dungeon entrances look like baby playgrounds. He smirked, glancing sideways at Ginho. Man, if this dude had seen a gate this big back when we first started, he'd have fainted right on the spot. Reporters were swarming the place like flies. Hunter Sung, a few words for the media. What are your thoughts on the Ajin Guild's first raid? Is it true you have a secret connection to founder Yu Jin-cheol? Jinwoo was about 2 seconds away from vaporizing them, when thankfully some Hunter Association staff swooped in and cleared a path. One of the officials leaned in, apologizing. Sorry, Hunter Sung. We tried keeping the dungeon location quiet, but you know how it is. Reporters always find a way, he added, lowering his voice. Also might want to be more careful what you post on social media from now on. That pic your guildmate posted blew up fast. Ginho scratched the back of his head awkwardly. Oops. As they prepped for the raid, Ginho tugged at Jinwoo's sleeve. Hyung, how are we gonna manage mining without crystal squads? It's usually way more complicated. Jinwoo just gave him a lazy grin. Don't sweat it. My shadows got it covered. Inside the gate, the Hunter Association rep couldn't believe what he was seeing. The Shadow Soldiers? They weren't just strong, they were monsters themselves. Inches, the commander, was tearing through A-rank monsters like they were made of paper, swinging a sword so fast it left crackling arcs of electricity behind each slice. Every monster that got close, dead in an instant. The official wiped sweat from his forehead. Hell, even just one of these shadow guys could clear a whole dungeon. Meanwhile, Ginho was losing his damn mind. One of the ants had started munching on monster corpses like they were at a damn Golden Corral buffet. Ginho ran over and kicked the ant across the room. Hey, those things are worth a fortune, you oversized cockroach. Stop eating the profits. Other shadow soldiers looked up guiltily, like kids caught sneaking cookies. The association guy watched this chaos, utterly stunned. How the hell is this guy casually mining, raiding, and babysitting an undead army all at once? Now he got why the chairman had told him, stick close to Sung Jinwoo. Then, without warning, the dungeon boss showed up. Jinwoo immediately dismissed most of his shadow army, only left the mining crew behind. The official blinked. Wait, what's he doing? He could have just steamrolled this boss with the soldiers. But Jinwoo was already walking forward, rolling his shoulders. If I rely on my shadows too much, he muttered, my own skills will start to rust. Next second, he sprinted. Damn near teleported. One breath later, the boss was chopped into fine bloody mist. System alert. Boss eliminated. Level up, 101. Skill advancements unlocked. Jinwoo blinked. Whoa. His shadow summoning skill, Guardian of Shadows, had leveled up. The cooldown on Shadow Exchange dropped by an entire hour too. meaning if anything happened to his mom or sister, he could reach them even faster. Now we're talking, Jinwoo thought. Behind him, the Hunter Association guy was still trying to process what the hell he'd just seen. The boss had tough-ass natural armor, something even elite hunters struggled to crack, and Jinwoo had sliced through it like he was cutting butter. But then he saw something even crazier. Jinwoo summoned his power again, shadow extraction. A black mist swirled around the boss's corpse, and the monster stood back up as Jinwoo's newest shadow. System alert. Shadow extraction successful. Shadow level 13. Jinwoo studied it. It looked a lot like Feng, his shadow mage. Same vibe, same dangerous aura. Sure, the new shadow was smaller, but the magic coming off him? Strong. Real strong. He figured if it was like Feng, maybe it could grow bigger later. Now all he needed was a name. He thought about it for a second, then smiled. Jima, he said. System confirmation. New shadow name registered. Jima. Another badass added to the roster, and Jinwoo was just getting started. Standing off to the side, the Hunter Association rep watched Jinwoo's army of shadows with wide eyes. Mentor's not just copying monsters, he thought. He's making them even stronger. But before he could finish processing that scary thought, the dungeon walls started to tremble. The raid was done. The boss was dead. Now the whole damn place was about to collapse. Jinwoo glanced over his shoulder, cool as ever, and realized he had to hustle out too, especially with his new recruit slung over his shadow's shoulder. Outside the gate, chaos was already brewing. A huge orc shadow lumbered out first, carrying the dead dungeon boss like a prize deer over its shoulder. The reporters lost their damn minds. People screamed. Cameras flashed. Somebody yelled, "The monsters are escaping!" But then they noticed something weird. The giant orc wasn't attacking. It was just standing there, looking awkward, scratching the back of his huge head like he was embarrassed. The crowd slowly realized, holy crap, that's Sung Jinwoo's shadow. Next thing you know, everybody's snapping pics like crazy, flashes going off like fireworks. Jinho jogged up next to Jinwoo, grinning. Hyung, smile. Look at all these reporters. They're eating this up. Jinwoo just sighed. This was exactly the kind of attention he didn't want. Meanwhile, the Hunter Association official who had gone in with them, dude looked like he just crawled out of a horror movie. Pale as a ghost. Later, he met up with the president of the association and gave his report. You've been on dozens of raids, the president said, arms crossed. Was this one really so different? The man shook his head, still dazed. Sir, this wasn't a raid. This was a massacre. The president nodded slowly. It was all crystal clear now. He stared out the window, hands clasped behind his back, mopping up the dungeon, collecting corpses, mining crystals. Jinwoo wasn't running a guild. He was the guild. One man, one army. And honestly, the president wasn't sad about it. He was damn proud. Korea's strongest weapon, maybe even the world's. But across the sea in Japan, things were spiraling into disaster. In Tokyo, a monstrous red gate opened. So big it blotted out half the damn sky. People stopped dead in their tracks, staring upward, slack-jawed in horror. A low, terrifying rumble echoed through the streets. Elsewhere, in a mansion where the strongest Japanese guilds secretly gathered, panic was already boiling over. The leaders of the Naked Blade Guild, the servants of the Murayama clan, and other S-rank hunters huddled together, tension thick as smoke. One of them spotted someone approaching the balcony. "Oh, the Naked Blade Guild co-owners here," he muttered. But another guy barked at him. "Idiot, that's the guild leader himself." Things were bad. 7 S-rank hunters had already been wiped out, including Go Gun-hee's prized protege, Gao Ruji. The biggest guilds were falling apart. If Naked Blade collapsed, the others would be right behind them. In another part of the mansion, the hunters argued bitterly. "Where the hell's the association?" one man shouted. "How the hell does a gate this massive pop up in the middle of Tokyo and they say nothing?" Another guy slammed his fist on the table. "Even if every S-rank hunter in Japan teamed up, we still wouldn't stand a damn chance." They tossed around crazy ideas. Summon national-level hunters, hire mercenaries. Hell, one guy even suggested paying Thomas Andre to fly in and fix it. "Good luck affording him," someone snapped. "Even if you could hire mercenaries," another said, "there's not enough of them left. Too many new dungeons popping up everywhere." Someone finally mentioned a backup option, Yuri Orlov, the Russian tank. But they all knew he wasn't cheap either. Desperation was setting in. Meanwhile, a few hundred kilometers away, Jinwoo was cruising down the highway in his car, windows down, fresh air pouring in. He thought back over everything. Level 101. The key to the Temple of Cartenon finally unlocked. New insane skills. Wonder what's waiting at level 102, he mused. He pulled up to his next stop, hopped out, and stretched. His deputy had apparently handled things perfectly. Full of energy, full of plans. Now they just needed a few more members for the guild to be officially set. But then, something caught Jinwoo's eye. Across the street, Cha Hai Inn. He froze. watched her pass by, and then, like she could feel his gaze, Cha suddenly turned around. Sharp, tense, like a cat sensing danger. Their eyes locked. And for a second, just a second, the world went real quiet. As soon as Cha Hyan spotted Jinwoo, she whipped around and started walking. Fast, while went in the other direction. But Jinwoo wasn't about to let her ghost him. He took one step forward, and in a blink, he was standing right in front of her. Confused, he asked, "Hey, why are you running? And what are you doing by our office anyway?" Cha, caught off guard, flailed a little, trying to explain. I was just looking for my car. Parking lot." "Yeah." Jinwoo blinked, then turned around, realizing, oh right, the shadow exchange thing screwed up where his actual car was parked. Before he could say anything else, Cha blurted out, "Could you spare some time? I need to talk." Her voice was hesitant, like she was wrestling with about 5 different thoughts at once. It wasn't just random small talk. Cha had seen the social media posts, the ones about the new recruit joining Jinwoo's guild, and she couldn't help but wonder, was she rejected? Was it because she wasn't S rank? Were Jinwoo and that girl dating? But Cha pushed all that aside, barely and awkwardly said, I'm actually here to deliver a message from Hunter Min Byung-gu." Jinwoo raised an eyebrow. "Let's not do this standing in the street," he said. "Come inside. We'll talk." Once they were in the office, Cha looked around like she was expecting to find hidden cameras or something. Jinwoo chuckled. "The deputy's still at the raid site. We're alone. What's this about?" Cha took a deep breath and explained. She told him about that weird encounter, the strange voice she'd heard. It said, "Be cautious. The one who pulled me from the endless darkness is no longer himself. Even though he held the promise, he feels like a blind servant now, created solely for that being." It was equal parts terrifying and sad. The voice had told her that the power inside Jinwoo was dangerous, way more dangerous than anyone realized, and that even Jinwoo himself needed to be careful. "The real Monarch's army," she whispered, "and you're their king." Cha fell silent. Jinwoo sat back heavily, staring at the floor. Real Monarch's army? Later, down in the dungeon during a break, Ginho was happily stuffing his face with food, oblivious as always. "Man, Hyung," he said with his mouth full. "Kinda reminds me of when we used to run those C-rank dungeons, you know?" Jinwoo made a face. "Can you not talk while inhaling your lunch?" But Jinho grinned, undeterred. Then he asked seriously, "Hey, since your shadows can kinda act on their own, can't you send them off to run errands? Like when you're busy eating or something?" Jinwoo shook his head. "Nah. The farther away they get, the less control I have. Plus, I have no damn clue what they'd get up to behind my back." They kept chatting, and Ginho eventually asked about Jinwoo's sister. Jinwoo's expression softened. "She's resting. She's got some of the best shadow soldiers guarding her. She's safe." Curious, Jinwoo decided to check in. He focused, activating his second sense transmission, and locked onto one of the shadows near his sister. Suddenly, he could see through its eyes. She was curled up on the couch, fast asleep, TV murmuring in the background. A shadow ant was switching TV channels, trying to find a show it liked. Seriously, Jinwoo thought. This idiot's acting like a couch potato. He switched views, caught sight of his mom shopping at the supermarket. Then, oops, accidentally tuned into a view of Cha Hai-in, who was, mid-bath. Jinwoo instantly snapped back out, face burning. Jinho noticed his weird look and laughed. "Hyung, you fall asleep or something?" Jinwoo coughed. No, just thinking? Man, I owe her an apology or something." Changing the subject, Ginho brought up the latest news. "Hey, hear about the S-rank gate in Japan? They're saying it's only 3 days away from disaster. Hunters from everywhere are rushing there." Jinwoo nodded. "Yeah, they reached out to me too. But," Ginho pressed, "I had other things to deal with first." Truth was, Jinwoo had bigger priorities. He had the key to the Temple of Cartenon now, an invitation from the system itself, and it was calling to him. There was something inside, answers he needed. Time to stop talking and start moving. Jinwoo stood up, his chair scraping back. "If you're done eating, let's go." Ginho, still mid-bite, scrambled up, nearly choking on his food. Meanwhile, elsewhere, inside a fancy conference room, Yuri Orlov, Russia's best tank, was running his mouth. Everyone knew he was a cocky bastard, but damn if he didn't have the skills to back it up. "Evacuation's the smart move," Yuri said, arms crossed. "Japan's running out of hunters fast. Only a handful of S-ranks left." Across from him, a Japanese official nodded grimly. "That's right, and every guild now needs at least one top-tier hunter just to survive." The room felt heavy, because everyone knew if they couldn't stop what was coming through that gate, Japan was screwed. Back over in Japan, things were getting desperate. The guilds had pulled together whatever top hunters they had left. 3 big names minus one who bailed, and it still wasn't enough. Sitting across the table, Yuri Orlov, the big-shot Russian tank, set his drink down with a heavy clunk. He gave them a hard stare. "All right," he said, voice casual but sharp. "You want me to block that gate? It's gonna cost you." The room tensed. $3.6 billion a year, Yuri continued, stretching like he was negotiating over pizza toppings. 10 million a day. Dead silence. And for that price, he added smugly, I'll save your whole damn country. Yuri leaned back in his chair, smiling lazily. Compared to Thomas Andre, I'm a damn bargain. The Japanese hunters standing behind the table didn't catch every word, the language barrier, but they could tell from his tone that it wasn't exactly friendly. Some of them stiffened, like they were about 2 seconds from throwing hands. Yuri didn't care. He even raised a hand, waving them off like flies. Don't even twitch unless I tell you to, he warned. You might try something, but you won't get anywhere. The room was deadlocked. Yuri smirked. You don't have the luxury to be picky anymore, he said. Either you pay up and live, or you roll the dice and pray. Across from him, one of the lead negotiators finally spoke up. You seem very confident. Yuri laughed. You're damn right. Better to pay one real tank than hire 100 losers who'll piss their pants the moment monsters pop out. Still, the official hesitated. Even if we accept your terms, getting that kind of budget approved, it's complicated. He started fidgeting, murmuring about making a call. Yuri just shrugged, already knowing he had them cornered. They'll fold, he thought. They always do. Meanwhile, back in South Korea, Jinwoo was finishing packing his bag. His mom stood by the door, worried. You sure you're okay, sweetheart? Jinwoo smiled softly. I'm fine, Mom. Just gotta meet someone. He stepped out into the crisp evening air. Time was ticking, literally. As soon as the countdown on his Temple of Cartenon key hit 0, it had pointed him to a new dungeon, one he had to find fast. At the site, a young hunter girl stood near a recently opened gate. She frowned. 2 gates at the same location? That wasn't supposed to happen. And though the school nearby was closed, a few kids still wandered too close for comfort. Suddenly, a hooded figure approached. She shouted automatically, Hey, this area is restricted. The figure pulled his hood down. It was Sung Jinwoo. Her heart damn near jumped out of her chest. He didn't waste time. When did this gate open? Jinwoo asked sharply. 3 days ago, sir. Jinwoo cursed under his breath. Damn it. No one had told him that the dungeon would open the moment he located it. And 3 days? That meant someone had already gone inside, probably thinking it was just a regular A-rank gate. Idiots. They had no clue what they were walking into. Did any hunters enter? He demanded. The girl nodded, still shell-shocked. About 2 hours ago, sir. Jinwoo's face darkened. Stop the raid, now. But the reading said it was just a normal A-rank. They're wrong, Jinwoo snapped. Everyone inside is about to die if we don't act. Without waiting for permission, he stormed toward the gate. Stay here, he ordered. And don't follow me. The girl wanted to argue, wanted to demand answers, but something about the way he said it made her freeze. He wasn't guessing, he knew. Inside the dungeon, the group of hunters who had gone ahead stood in front of a massive boss room door. It was sealed shut, which was weird. Boss doors were supposed to swing open once you got close. They started debating what to do. Some suggested forcing it open. Others whispered about bailing out. And just then, Jinwoo arrived. You idiots need to back away, he barked. They all jumped out of their skins. Who the hell are you? Someone shouted. Jinwoo's voice was low, calm, deadly serious. I'm S rank. He looked at the boss room door, and he knew instantly it wasn't a door, it was a goddamn trap, and it was already too late. Inside the eerie dungeon, Jinwoo waved the hunters back. This place is dangerous, he warned. Seriously, you should leave. I'll handle it. But when he pushed on the massive door, it didn't budge. Not locked normally. Enchanted. Suddenly, ding, a system notification popped up. The doors to the Temple of Cartenon are locked. A key is required. Jinwoo pulled out the key and realized right away something was wrong. Meanwhile, the hunters behind him, still clueless, mumbled among themselves. One guy stepped up, trying to be all formal. Sir, no offense, but this dungeon's already reserved for our raid team. Even if you're S rank, you can't just kick us out. Jinwoo shrugged. Fine, I'm not stopping you. The hunters fist bumped each other like they'd won an argument. Right up until another system alert popped up. Unauthorized entry detected. Uninvited guests will be eliminated. Yeah, real great timing, guys. One of the guards standing watch near the door suddenly roared to life, swinging a massive hammer down at the nearest hunter. If it weren't for Jinwoo grabbing the guy by the armor and tossing him out of harm's way like a sack of potatoes, that dude would have been a pancake. And looming behind the guard, a massive hulking monster. Straight nightmare fuel. Jinwoo turned back to the other hunters, deadly serious. I'm not holding you here, but if you've got any brains at all, you'll run. He told them straight. Report this to the association. Call it what it is, a double dungeon. And without waiting for an answer, Jinwoo stepped through the doors, just as they slammed shut behind him with a bone-shaking boom. Inside the temple, the air was heavy. Torches on the walls flickered to life one by one. Everything was exactly the way he remembered it from last time. The tests, the statues, the endless pressure. But this time, he saw it clear as day. The other creatures weren't monsters, they were puppets. And the thing pulling the strings? That massive statue standing in the center. Jinwoo stared it down. "You're the bastard behind this," he muttered. He raised his voice. "Not gonna say anything? Just gonna keep smirking like a creep?" For a second, there was only silence. Then, the statue's lips curled into a horrible grin. The verbal smile peeled back under the hood, and a voice echoed across the chamber. "We've been waiting for you." Meanwhile, back in Japan, Yuri Orlov strutted through Narita Airport, flashbulbs popping left and right. Reporters swarmed him, shouting over each other. "How will you block the gate?" Yuri waved lazily at the cameras. "I'm gonna set up a magic circle around it," he said, like he was explaining how to fry an egg. "When the spell kicks in, the gate gets locked up tighter than a damn bank vault." Skeptical murmurs spread through the crowd. Someone asked if his magic alone would be enough. Yuri just smirked. "Normally? Hell no. But I'll plant mana crystals all over Tokyo. Once I start the spell, the crystals will feed it. Stronger than concrete, stronger than steel." He gave the cameras a wink. "I'm gonna save this whole city, don't forget it." In Seoul, the Hunter Association president watched the broadcast live from his office, grim-faced. If Yuri failed, the whole damn country was screwed. He turned to his assistant. "How's Sung Jinwoo doing?" "Currently guarding a dungeon in Seoul, sir." The assistant handed him a folder, a list of dungeons Ain Guild had reserved. But the president frowned. One guy? A whole guild? It was so absurd it almost made him laugh. Almost, but he knew better. Jinwoo wasn't one guy. He was a walking army. Still, he worried. Guild politics were tricky. The White Tiger and Reaper's guilds weren't going to like it if Ain Guild started flexing too hard. His assistant shrugged. "They just asked that no one enter the gate area for a week. Shouldn't be an issue." The president nodded thoughtfully. Just as the assistant's phone rang, he picked up, listened, then his face drained of color. "Sir," he said quickly, "there's a problem. Urgent message from the rating department." The president arched an eyebrow. "You remember that school where the Orcs showed up?" The president nodded. "Yeah, what about it?" "They say a double dungeon opened up there, and Hunter Sung Jinwoo's already gone inside." Inside the temple, the air got heavy. Jinwoo locked eyes with the monstrous statue in the center, and then slowly it started to move. 6 massive stone wings unfolded from its back, grinding against the air like an ancient machine waking up after centuries. The stone tablet, the one with all the dungeon's rules, cracked in the statue's hands like it was made of paper. Jinwoo stared, unblinking. "Looks like those rules don't mean jack anymore," he muttered. But the creator, that twisted entity behind everything, finally answered him. "It's not that simple," the voice rumbled. "Those rules are no longer needed." Jinwoo narrowed his eyes. "All right then," he said. "Why the hell did you call me here?" The statue's voice almost sounded amused. "You're asking the wrong question." Jinwoo raised an eyebrow. "You should be asking." The statue's stone mouth twisted into a wicked grin. "Who you are." And with a booming clap of its stone palms, the entire room came alive. Statues, dozens of them, started to move. The final test had begun. If Jinwoo could survive this, he'd finally learn the truth about himself. The creator called it a parting gift. Jinwoo immediately tried summoning his shadow soldiers, but snap. The creator clicked his stone fingers and shut it all down. "No class skills allowed," he said coldly. "This test is only for you." Damn it! A system notification flashed. Potions disabled. Level up healing disabled. Daily task bonuses disabled. Jinwoo stood there, tightening his fists. The ace up his sleeve, gone. "All right," he thought. "Guess I'm on my own." The first stone guard lunged. Jinwoo caught the swing mid-air with raw strength, shattering the giant sword with his bare hands. Without hesitating, he grabbed a shard of the broken blade and hurled it right into the guard's head, embedding it deep. And then, with a flying kick, he slammed the shard further in, knocking the whole statue flat. No time to celebrate. Another guard charged. Jinwoo ducked under the swing, ripped through the guy's weapon like it was butter, and spun behind him, driving twin shards into the back of the statue's head. Stone cracked. Dust flew. More guards joined the party, pulling out stone bows and firing massive arrows at him. But Jinwoo wasn't just fighting back, he was adapting. He deflected the arrows mid-air with insane reflexes. One arrow he kicked so hard it ricocheted straight back into the archer's face. Crack! Taking off half the stone bastard's head. It wasn't just a fight anymore. It was an absolute slaughter. And up above, the creator, the so-called god of this place, watched in stunned silence. This wasn't the same Jinwoo who walked into my dungeon the first time. He'd grown, way beyond expectations. Jinwoo could see everything now. Every tiny movement, every opening. The statues were still powerful as hell, but they weren't invincible anymore. Up in the air, strange glowing figures whispered to each other, shaken. He's really changed? But it wasn't over yet. The floor shook. The biggest stone statue in the whole temple began to rise. The creator's voice boomed. It's time to meet God. Meanwhile, a few hundred kilometers away, at the Hunter Association HQ, the South Korean president sat down across from the Japanese Association chairman. The Japanese side slid a document across the table, a memorandum. They were offering every last magic crystal from Jeju Island, all of it, to South Korea. The Korean president frowned, and what's the catch? The Japanese chairman bowed his head slightly. We'd like to hire Hunter Sung Jinwoo. The Korean president smiled thinly. Unfortunately for you, Jinwoo doesn't belong to us. He slid the paper back across the table without even blinking. But inside he was laughing. That's how desperate they are. The Japanese had lost all their top-tier hunters after the Jeju disaster. Now they were willing to trade an entire island's worth of wealth just for a chance to borrow Jinwoo's strength. And honestly, given what Jinwoo could do, it still wouldn't be enough. Inside the meeting room, the atmosphere was tense enough to snap in half. The president of the Korean Hunter Association leaned in and said, real casual, "I'd like to talk alone. No interpreters." The Japanese chairman blinked, stunned. You, no Japanese? The Korean president gave a tight smile. Yeah, grew up around it. My old man ran a business over there. Guess it stuck. As soon as the last translator stepped out and the door clicked shut, the president's tone changed fast. You listen real close, he said, voice like ice. If you're up to any shady crap again, you better kill that idea now. The Japanese chairman looked offended, like he didn't have a clue what he was talking about. But the president didn't let up. He laid it out. The Naked Blades Guild, the pride of Japan's hunter world, was falling apart. Their biggest S-rank hitter, Go Gun-hee, was dead. The guilds were fighting each other for scraps. The association's dirty little hand-in-hand deal with Naked Blades? Yeah, not so secret anymore. And now, if monsters started pouring out of that massive red gate sitting right in the middle of Tokyo, the chairman was going to take all the heat. No hiding. No blaming others. The president shook his head in disgust. Go Ruji was a hell of a hunter. But you broke the balance, you split the guilds, you screwed yourself. And just to drive it home, he reached under the table and slammed a black box down onto the surface. It wasn't just any box, it was the same one used by Rui's squad, the one that recorded everything. The chairman's face went white. The president glared at him. You really thought I wouldn't find out? He didn't even wait for a reply. In a flash of anger, the Korean president smashed the black box and the table it was sitting on, splintering wood everywhere. I'm not risking my country's future for some selfish old fat cat like you, he growled. We're not starting a damn war over your mistakes. You ought to thank Sung Jinwoo while you still can. Meanwhile, back inside the temple of Cartenon, Jinwoo was still locked in battle. Statues, dozens of them, kept coming. Every time he smashed one, two more popped up like they were on some sick assembly line. He gritted his teeth. There's no end to these bastards. Then he spotted it. A huge statue towering over the others, looming behind him. Worse, it was charging up another one of those insane I-beam attacks. Nope, Jinwoo thought. Not sticking around for that. He quickly activated Ruler's Touch, and suddenly the statues chasing him lifted into the air like puppets with their strings yanked. The big statue fired, and the blast obliterated all the floating statues in a flash of terrifying energy. Jinwoo got a new notification. Ruler's Touch has reached its maximum level. New skill unlocked. Ruler's Authority. Hell yeah, Jinwoo thought, but he didn't have time to celebrate. That monster's attacks were getting deadlier by the second. One wrong move and it wouldn't matter how many skills he had. He'd be toast. No time for fancy tricks. Take out the big guy first. He activated Sprint, launching himself into the air at breakneck speed. The giant statue saw him coming and slammed its massive stone foot down with the force of a meteor strike. Boom! Dust and rubble exploded everywhere. The statue smirked. To it, the hunter was crushed. Dead. Game over, or so it thought. Because a second later, slicing through the smoke, Jinwoo shot up, faster than ever, running up the statue's body toward its head. The statue's I-beams fired again, blindingly bright, but Jinwoo had already slipped into its blind spot. He wasn't fighting with brute strength anymore. He was fighting with surgical precision. If he couldn't overpower it, he'd outsmart it. And right now, Jinwoo was 2 steps ahead. Jinwoo gritted his teeth, standing steady on the massive stone shoulder of the towering statue. If only my skills were a little sharper, he thought. This would have been over already. The statue finally noticed him, standing there, chaos blade ready, eyes burning, and it swung, trying to shake him off. Jinwoo didn't back down. He drove his dagger straight into the stone. Clang. The blade that could slice through damn near anything barely left a scratch. His jaw tightened. Fine, he thought. If cutting you won't work, then I'll just break you apart the old-fashioned way. Without hesitation, he launched off the shoulder, diving straight toward the statue's face. Mid-air, he spotted it, a tiny crack along its surface. Bingo. Jinwoo roared, slamming all his strength into it. Break, damn you! The creator, who'd been smugly watching from the shadows, stiffened. Even he knew this hit wasn't just a hit, it was devastation. The enormous statue shuddered, and then collapsed, crashing to the floor in a seismic echo that shook the entire temple. Jinwoo landed smoothly, already moving before the dust had even cleared. More guards, dozens of them, charged at him. Didn't matter. Jinwoo clenched his fist. Lord's authority activated. The whole damn army of statues slammed into the ground like someone had cranked gravity to 100. They struggled pathetically, but it was useless. Jinwoo stood tall, stronger than ever. From his perch, the creator finally clapped slowly, his stone wings flapping lazily. Not bad, he chuckled darkly. Jinwoo wiped dust off his shoulder. All right, pal, you said you'd tell me everything after I won. Start talking. But the creator? He just grinned wider. You forgot, he said. The real exam's just starting. Ping! A new notification appeared in front of Jinwoo. Emergency quest, final trial. Defeat the creator within 10 minutes, or your heart will stop. Oh, hell no. No time to think. No backup. Just Jinwoo, his fists, and his fury. Still, he threw out one question before the fight started. Who the hell are you? The creator laughed, a deep, bone-rattling sound, and the crack started crawling across his stone face. Finally, he answered, I'm the one who created the system. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, the Hunter Association's rescue squad rolled up fast. The lead inspector paced nervously. They had rounded up the 7 best hunters they could find on short notice. And honestly, he wasn't sure it would be enough. The closer he got to the dungeon entrance, the more he felt it. A bone-chilling, wrong kind of energy. Like standing naked under a freezing waterfall. He shivered. You guys feel that too? He asked the others. They nodded grimly. No S-rank hunters nearby either. 2 of the Hunter Guild's elites were busy with a raid across town. The inspector cursed under his breath and barked out an urgent order. Get them here, now. Because whatever the hell was inside that gate, it wasn't normal. Back inside the temple, Jinwoo didn't have time for second thoughts. The creator, the monster, smirked, and his wings shifted, morphing into 6 massive stone arms. Before Jinwoo could even blink, the monster vanished from his sight, and then boom! Sucker punched him so hard he flew across the hall like a missile. Jinwoo smashed into the wall, coughing up blood, his body screaming from the impact. Damn! He's fast. But the creator didn't give him a second to breathe. He was already rushing forward, fists hammering like machine guns. Jinwoo barely dodged the next strike, then the next, and blocked the next with his bare arms. Pain flared through his body, but he stayed standing. And when the creator grinned and swung at him again, Jinwoo swung back, hard. The temple shook with the force of their blows, stone cracking under their feet. Jinwoo's blood was boiling now, adrenaline drowning out the pain. He wasn't going down like this. Not today, not ever. Jinwoo clenched his fists, breathing hard. Across from him, the so-called creator dusted himself off, laughing like he couldn't believe his own damn eyes. Unbelievable, the stone bastard muttered. I'm actually excited about fighting a human. What the hell is wrong with me? Jinwoo narrowed his eyes. Excited? About me? Buddy, you're about to regret that feeling real fast. He pieced it together. This thing had been watching him all along. Since he hit level 101, it had been planning to bring him here. Probably planning to kill him too. But Jinwoo? He wasn't about to let some smug, oversized statue decide when he clocked out. You got a lot of explaining to do, Jinwoo growled, stepping forward. Like why the hell you created the system, why you picked me to be the player, and what the hell's really going on with this world. The creator didn't even flinch. Instead, he charged him. If you want answers that bad, the creator barked, then come get them. Oh, it's like that, huh? Jinwoo sprinted sideways, trying to bait him out. But the moment he blasted an attack, Jinwoo realized with a nasty jolt, this bastard can use the same damn skills I can. The air exploded around him. Jinwoo skidded to a stop, gritting his teeth. The creator's voice echoed across the temple. It doesn't matter if you kill me. Your answer's already set in stone. From the moment I created this system, your fate was sealed. Jinwoo, still dodging around, yelled back, if you didn't pick me, then who the hell did? The creator smirked, dodging easily. I didn't choose you, I just built the playground. Someone else shoved you onto it. The clock was ticking. Jinwoo's eyes snapped to the system timer. Barely a few minutes left. The creator took to the sky, gathering weapons, swords, axes, hammers, flinging them all at once. Jinwoo? He dodged them. Every damn one. Wait a second. He felt their trajectory. He felt their weight. He could predict them. His instincts had leveled the hell up. The creator's cocky grin faltered when Jinwoo cleanly sliced off one of his stone hands midair. You little... The creator roared, grabbing his stub. Jinwoo just smirked. Yeah, buddy, I'm only human, and I'm about to beat your stone ass into gravel. Timer check? 3 minutes, 45 seconds left. More statues rumbled to life, trying to block his way. Didn't matter. Jinwoo jumped high, charged his lord's power. and slammed the ground with enough force to blow the small fry apart. The whole room shuddered. Straight ahead, the creator and his last few stone cronies. Jinwoo locked eyes full send, rushing him. He hacked off another arm, then another. But from the side, wham! A massive stone shield smashed his shoulder. Jinwoo grunted, spinning, spotting the giant guardian that had sucker punched him. Not today. He leapt and cracked the guardian's stone skull wide open with a brutal overhead strike. 2 minutes left. Go, go, go! Fueled by pure adrenaline, Jinwoo turned back to the creator, slicing, smashing, wrecking him piece by piece. Finally, Jinwoo pinned the creator down. The bastard was breathing heavy now, stone dust crumbling off his body. You win, the creator rasped. The answers you want, they're inside me. Jinwoo frowned. What? A system message blinked into existence. Data collection complete. Accept or reject. Jinwoo barely hesitated. Accept. Flash. The world around him vanished. He was floating now, weightless, bodiless, hovering above a landscape straight out of a nightmare. Below him, an ocean of monsters. High orcs, goblins, demons, marching like a goddamn endless army. They all lifted their heads, not looking at him, looking at something else. Jinwoo's gut twisted. He turned. Up there, a massive, yawning gate splitting open across the sky, Earth itself being ripped apart. If those creatures poured through, humanity wouldn't stand a chance. It wasn't a dungeon anymore, it wasn't a raid, it was the end of the goddamn world. And now, Jinwoo knew exactly what was coming, exactly what he had to fight for. And no matter what, he wasn't backing down. It was absolute hell down there. A full-blown bloody war. The monsters and the Silver Warriors, those stuck-up heavenly bastards, were tearing into each other like it was their damn last day. Steel clashed against steel. Spells turned into war cries. The ground already dyed deep scarlet, soaking up the madness. And no matter how brutal the monsters fought, the Silver Warriors just kept coming. It looked like the monsters were about to get wiped off the map. Until he showed up. Jinwoo squinted from high above as the black-robed figure appeared. A monster in full obsidian armor, mounted on a horse blacker than a starless night. The dude lifted one hand and resurrected every fallen monster like it was some casual Tuesday. Holy shit, that's a Shadow Lord. Wherever the Shadow Lord walked, an unstoppable tide of darkness followed. Dead monsters reanimated, stronger, meaner, ready to tear the heavens apart. And in that moment, Jinwoo realized, my army looks like a damn kid's soccer team compared to this guy's. The Silver Warriors fought like hell, but for everyone they cut down, 10 more shadows rose up, nastier than before. The very earth trembled under the clash of light and darkness. The battle was reaching a fever pitch, but just when it looked like the monsters had this in the bag, they came. Meanwhile, back at the real-world dungeon entrance, the hunters from the association were scrambling. The inspector barked orders. Get that damn door open. Hunter Jinwoo's in there. A hunter moved forward, but he hesitated, feeling the magic leaking through the air. Something felt wrong. Is Jinwoo really in there? He asked. The inspector nodded grimly. Confirmed. He's inside. But Huntress Cha wasn't buying it. That magic? That wasn't Jinwoo's magic? Who the hell is in there with him, she thought, feeling a chill crawl up her spine. Whatever was behind those doors, it wasn't friendly. Still, they had to help. They had to try. As the hunters forced the doors open, they froze. Stone statues, a creature that could only be described as a literal god, a monster that turned to them and spoke. How curious, the creator rumbled. Humans? Here? I didn't invite you. The hunters gripped their weapons tighter. This thing could talk? It knew their language? The creator smirked darkly. Be quiet or you'll wake the king. Panic rippled through the group. They spotted Jinwoo standing in the center of the chaos, his body glowing faintly, locked in some kind of trance. And then, boom! The creator snapped his fingers. 4 hunters crumpled to the ground, dead before they even realized they were being attacked. The survivors scattered, heart rates exploding. This wasn't a fight they could win. This one, the creator mused, eyeing Jinwoo. This one will make a worthy sacrifice. Inside his mind, Jinwoo was somewhere else entirely. Still in the vision, still watching the Dark King battle the endless sea of monsters pouring out of the Red Gate. The earth was splitting open with armies of horrors. High orcs, goblins, demons bigger than buildings. It was a battlefield like none he'd ever seen. The Dark King? He didn't flinch. He rallied his shadow armies and charged headfirst into the chaos. And Jinwoo, even floating like a spirit above it all, could feel it in his bones. This was what the real war looked like. The war that was coming for Earth. Back in the real world, the hunters were desperately trying to survive. Statues attacked relentlessly, giant guardians firing frickin' laser beams from their eyes. Fall back! Someone shouted. Strengthen defenses! Magic spells bounced harmlessly off the stone monstrosities. Swords shattered on impact. It was a nightmare. The inspector from the association slammed his fist into a guardian's helmet, only to realize he hadn't even left a scratch. Oh shit, their attacks weren't working. Their magic wasn't working. Hell, even taunts didn't work. The statues didn't even blink. Someone finally shouted what everyone was thinking. Is there even a damn way to kill these things? Desperation hit. One hunter glanced at Jinwoo, still standing there, still glowing faintly. Maybe if they could just wake him up. Without thinking, the hunter hurled a fireball straight at Jinwoo. The fireball cut through the air, a glowing comet racing toward Jinwoo. The hunter who cast it didn't care anymore. Hit or miss, none of it didn't matter. They were out of time. If Jinwoo didn't wake up now, they were all as good as dead. But just as the orb neared its mark, a shadow shifted, and the creator appeared with a crack of dark energy. With a casual swipe of his hand, he swatted the fireball aside like it was nothing. His face twisted with rage. "You dare disturb the king's slumber?" he snarled, his voice rumbling like an oncoming storm. He lunged at the reckless hunter, teeth bared. But before he could land the killing blow, 3 hunters collided with him, blocking the attack with everything they had left. "Cha, wake him up! Go!" one of them roared. Without a second's hesitation, Cha dashed forward. She tore across the ruined battlefield, her heart hammering against her ribs, dodging debris, magic, and death itself, all to reach Jinwoo. Inside Jinwoo's mind, another war was raging. High above a battlefield, torn apart by chaos, Jinwoo floated, weightless, a ghost among titans. Below him, the armies of monsters and silver-armored warriors clashed in a massacre that seemed to stretch forever. The sky wept blood. The earth trembled beneath their fury. And yet, it wasn't the silver warriors who held the field. It was the Shadow Army. They rose, tireless and unbroken, reborn from death again and again under the command of their Dark Master. Wherever the Shadow King strode, devastation followed. The monsters that once feared nothing now screamed in terror. Jinwoo watched, wide-eyed, as realization dawned. This was no fantasy. This was a memory, a prophecy. The war ended as quickly as it had started. The last of the Monster Kings lay crushed under the Shadow King's heel. Slowly the king turned, and Jinwoo felt the pull of fate as he stepped forward, his spirit merging with the Dark Sovereign's. It was then he saw it, his hands stained in blood, 2 hearts beating within his chest, one human, warm and fragile, the other dark, mighty, terrifyingly alive. And from above the sky split wide. A sea of silver warriors descended, an army sent from the heavens themselves. The next battle was coming, and Earth would be the battlefield. Back in the real world, the creator sneered at Huntress Cha. "You're an interesting one," he mused, almost playfully as he watched her desperate attempt to reach Jinwoo. "Let's see if you can surprise me again." Cha, gritting her teeth against the pain in her wounded shoulder, raised her blade and launched into her sword dance. The creator smiled. He enjoyed the entertainment, but the dance didn't last long. With a flick of his hand, he struck her down, blood blooming from a new gash across her arm. "You disappoint me," he said, his voice thick with contempt. "Just another boring human." He turned his back on her. In his mind, the outcome had already been decided. Today would mark the birth of a true king, and no one here could stop it. The other hunters fought with everything they had, but it was like battling a storm with bare hands. The statues, the guardians, crushed magic and steel alike. Somewhere among the chaos, a voice shouted, "Wake Jinwoo! It's our only chance." Cha forced her battered body forward again, but the creator saw her. He moved to intercept, but she dodged, slipping past him by a hair's breadth, her heart screaming for speed. He laughed, amused. She was bold, he'd give her that. And then he saw it, a shadow hidden within her. A soldier Jinwoo had embedded inside her. The rules of the dungeon should have made it impossible, and yet it was there. "Friends," she said, breathless but fierce when he demanded an answer. "We're friends. We came here to save him." The creator chuckled, dark and low. How touching. He would allow them to witness the king's birth, he said, and then he would slaughter them all. But fate had other plans. Who said you could decide that? The creator turned and caught Jinwoo's fist full in the face. The impact was explosive. The creator staggered back, stunned. Around them, the hunters stared, barely able to believe their eyes. He was awake, and he was furious. For a moment, the world held its breath. And then Jinwoo stepped forward, dark energy crackling around him like a living storm. The creator, this so-called god, looked up at him in horror. He knew in that instant that he had lost. The black heart inside Jinwoo's chest beat with unstoppable power. He hadn't just survived the test, he had become something more. A title burned across his mind, Demon Hunter, Plasma 100,000 mana. And as Jinwoo glared down at his broken enemy, a thought settled in his mind like iron. You tried to make me a pawn. Now you'll watch me become the king. The air around Jinwoo crackled with raw energy, the aftershocks of a power even the creator hadn't accounted for. There was no hiding it anymore, like the black heart beating inside Jinwoo's chest wasn't part of their plan. Hell, it wasn't supposed to exist at all. The memories Jinwoo had seen, the brutal wars, the birth of shadow armies, that was just the prologue to something much bigger, something far more terrifying. Standing over the broken figure of the creator, Jinwoo's voice was calm but cold enough to freeze fire. "Talk!" he demanded. "Explain it. What the hell is a player? Why were you so dead set against me?" The creator's lip curled into a snarl. "Shadow Lord!" He spat, half rage, half fear. "You think the Monarchs will forgive you for this? You think you've won?" But Jinwoo didn't flinch. Instead, portals tore open around him, huge, swirling rifts, and from them blades of darkness emerged, spinning and shimmering like sharks scenting blood. Each one pointed straight at the creator's heart. Jinwoo's voice was like iron. "Answer me, now." For a moment there was silence, and then laughter. Bitter, broken laughter. "You've exceeded my expectations," the creator coughed, wiping blood from his mouth. "I see now why they chose you, why the system chose you." And just as he said that, the statues moved. The once still stone guardians turned their hollow faces toward Jinwoo, and a shudder ran through the hall. Even the other hunters, exhausted and wounded, could feel it. This wasn't over. The creator grinned through his cracked lips. "If you kill me," he said, "they'll never stop. You'll unleash every last one of them." He chuckled like a man about to watch the world burn. "Think carefully, Hunter. Without me, the system collapses. You'll go back to being just another E-rank nobody." But Jinwoo, he smiled, that cold, deadly smile. "And what if?" Jinwoo said quietly. "The system doesn't need you anymore." The creator's grin faltered. For the first time, true fear flickered in his eyes. He tried to pull something, tried to call out to the system, to escape, to log in as administrator. But the notification popped up in front of Jinwoo's vision. Administrator access blocked. The creator blinked, stunned. What? What the hell? The system had turned against him, and the man standing in front of him, Jinwoo, was no longer a pawn. He was the damn king. The creator stammered something about bugs, about glitches, about how this wasn't supposed to happen. But Jinwoo didn't give a damn. With one clean motion, he cut him in half. The creator gasped, the light already fading from his eyes. In his final breath, he whispered, "The pillars of fire, they'll rise soon. Death, death will rain from the sky." But Jinwoo, sword-dripping darkness, turned away without even sparing him a glance. He muttered almost casually, "Then let it come. I'll be ready." And just like that, the creator of the system was no more. And a new king, a real king, had truly awakened.